All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to Forward Future Live, July 25th, 2025, and one day closer to super intelligence. Welcome to the show. We have some awesome guests coming on. We have a bunch of cool topics that we're going to be talking about, everything from Netflix, using AI now, and new Quen models, new open source models, everything. So, welcome to the show. Very excited. And first, I actually just want to introduce you to the team, the Forward Future team. So first up, I want to introduce Alex. Alex, come on.
Hi, everyone.
So-
I'm Alex. I run video production here. Pretty much anything on YouTube. That's me doing, editing, thumbnails, stuff like that. Running the live stream today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and anytime you see my silly face and thumbnails, that is 100% Alex. But he is deep into artificial intelligence. He and I are constantly talking about what's new. So he'll be behind the scenes today, along with the rest of the team. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I want to introduce you to Nick Wentz, who, first of all, bring him on. Hey, Nick.
What's up, everyone?
So Nick handles the newsletter. He handles our educational content. And we have a bunch of cool stuff coming that he's going to be handling as well. He's also going to be joining later in the show where we're going to be talking about some fun tweets that have been going around this week.
That's right. See you all in a bit.
All right. And last, from the Forward Future team, we have Melissa Hockadell. She handles everything business related. Anytime we have a great sponsor, she helps get them on, make sure that we're bringing on the best sponsors. So welcome to the show. And your dog, Melissa.
This is Vino Cappuccino, and I'm Melissa. And like Matt said, I handle the business side. Simply put.
And nice hat, by the way. So that is a Forward Future hat. You can buy that at our shop. I believe it's shop.forwardfuture.ai, but if not, I will drop it in the comments. Okay, so we have a fun show. Everybody in chat, tell us where you're from. I want to see how many different cities, countries we have joining us in chat today. And we have a very, very special show, and we're going to start with a very, very special guest, Matt Wolf, who is a fellow AI content creator, someone that I've gained inspiration from quite a bit over the last couple of years. Really one of the first, if not the first, on YouTube talking about AI. Met him multiple times in person. Really nice guy. Let's bring him on. All right, Matt.
Welcome to the show. How's it going? Yeah, thanks for having me. I haven't done a live stream in a while, so this will be fun.
Me too, actually. It's been a very long time, and I really enjoy doing them. I don't know why I kind of fell off.
Yeah, they're so much fun. So, yeah.
So we have folks from Estonia, Michigan, Vilnius, Lithuania. What's up? My wife is Lithuanian. I've been there. That's awesome. Vancouver, Canada. We have folks from all over. But today, Matt, we're going to be talking about AI news. So, you've been putting out AI news at least once a week for a couple of years now. Really, by the way, if you're not subscribed to Matt's channel, please do so. Really great content, tutorials, use cases, and AI news and everything else. And so let's get started. Alex, can you share my screen for a second? Julia says she loves your content, Matt. Not sure which Matt she's talking about. I assume you.
probably both. I mean,
that works too. Julia, you are awesome.
Got to hang out with her out in Austin during South by Southwest a couple years ago.
All right, I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. Give us 1 second. We're just getting the kinks out of the show. Okay, so the first, let me get this up. Cool. So here's the first thing I wanted to talk about with you. You have obviously had a lot to say about text to image, text to video. This is something you cover quite often on your channel. Netflix is using Runway, starting to use it for video tools and production. And specifically, so let me read a little bit. Netflix is using artificial intelligence video generation software from startup Runway AI, one of the best in text to video models for content production. Specifically, possible uses for its generative AI tools. And basically, I think they're using it for like background and special effects. Yeah, including creating special effects shots more quickly and cheaply than with traditional visual effects tools and processes, which can be very expensive. So, Matt, is this the beginning? Is this the beginning of AI taking over? We've seen it moving up the stack. We've seen it getting better. So, tell me what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, this particular case, I believe they use like AI to make a building collapse or something in the background of a video. My take is that Hollywood's probably been using AI for a few years now, and just none of them want to talk about it. I think that's probably really the case. Is like this guy who worked on this Netflix show kind of came out and said, "Hey, we used a little bit of AI in our thing," and he's one of the first ones to come out and say it. But I actually think, I've talked to a few people out in, Hollywood that work in the film industry. You're, right out in that neck of the woods. So I'm sure you talk to a lot of people. And behind the scenes, I hear a lot of like, yeah, they're using AI already. They have been for a while, just nobody talks about it. So I think it's been going on for a while. There's I don't know. Have you ever seen the Studio with Seth Rogen?
I have.
Yeah, there's
that show gives me anxiety.
It does.
It's so high paced.
It is. But I don't know if you remember the episode where they talked about how like the director came up to him and he's like, "I'm going to use a little bit of AI, just a little bit of AI." And Seth Rogen's like, "Just a little bit? We can get away with a little bit, right?" But then they found out that AI was used in their film. Like the audience found out AI was being used in the film, and they all, started to freak out and go, "Yo, you're taking other people's jobs," and all that kind of stuff. But I think that kind of thing has been going on for a long time. I think this guy at Netflix is just kind of like one of the first ones to come out and admit it and say like, yeah, I've been using AI and let's try to normalize this.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I am like in the LA area, so I have a lot of friends that are in Hollywood in the production and visual effects business, and boy, they never have good things to say about the way that their market is going. And it's unfortunate. They are constantly telling me, especially visual effects, small visual effects shops are just getting eaten up, losing business. They're bringing a lot of it in-house. They're outsourcing it. I haven't heard a lot about replacing their technical chops with AI, but I assume that's kind of the next step. And, I know at least my position is I'm very optimistic. I think it's like AI in general is going to complement humans.
Right.
Ultimately, you can create a lot more. You can be a lot more productive with artificial intelligence, but there's so much value in having taste and the taste that humans bring. And so I really am bullish on human in the loop, at least for the foreseeable future.
Totally. I totally agree with that. I mean, as a movie goer, I would probably still prefer to know that people actually like acted this scene out. If something in the background, like there was a giant building collapse or something that happened in the background and they happen to use, AI to cut the costs of that one scene by a lot, that's not going to bother me. I think where AI is going to start to bother me is when like they actually fully start replacing actors. But I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on that. I don't think Hollywood is going to be able to get away with that, at least not in the near future. I think a lot of people are going to sort of boycott and avoid films if they know like AI actors were being used in them. So I still think humans are going to prefer going to see humans doing, talented things like, good acting.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. So I agree with the latter, which is humans still want to see humans. And I also agree that Hollywood is likely going to push back and boycott, but ultimately you're fighting against the inevitability, right? Like AI is going to help, it's going to come, it's going to make people more productive. So just like previous technologies with the movie industry, the music industry, they unfortunately were on the wrong side of history, and they really just needed to adopt the technology, understand it, and get good with it, and figure out how to monetize it. And I really do believe that this is going to enable a world in which we have a lot more high quality content. And maybe let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Do you think kind of the end game is incredible, like AAA quality studio content for an audience of one?
That's interesting. I haven't really thought about it like that. I don't know. Like, is there really anything that's only got an audience of one, right? Like, I feel like no matter what your sort of niche or interests are, there's always going to be some sort of group that has similar interests and sort of is into the same kind of stuff as you. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I always want, like, for me, a lot of the AI tools that are out there right now, they're just like fun for me to play with. So if you mean like an audience of one, and that one being like the person who created the content, I do think there is going to be an element of that. Like, I'm just going to go and create the thing that I wish existed and just create it for myself. But I also think in doing that, I'll be able to put it out into the world and people will want to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. We're definitely in entering this weird, interesting world, but like, I know I still want to see human actors on the screen. I don't really, this is me personally, I don't really care if some of the VFX used AI, but I still want to see like a human on the screen doing the acting. And I don't think it's going to totally be up to Hollywood. Like, even the actors pushing back, I don't think it's going to be up to them whether or not this stuff gets more mainstream and in more movies. I think it's going to be up to the audiences. I think if the audiences sort of boycott and don't want to go and see movies with AI actors throughout the movie, then studios aren't going to do that because they're not going to make the money for them. They already have ways of sort of circumnavigating the actors in Hollywood. They can already recreate people and recreate their faces and hire lower cost actors and superimpose more famous actors' faces on those actors. I mean, you saw it in The Social Network with the two twins, right? Like, they've already got that technology to sort of replace the actors. But I think audiences are going to push back against it, and that's going to cause Hollywood to not really go as far down the AI actor route as maybe some executives want to go because of the cost savings.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to quality. Is the product you are creating good? Is it going to be consumed by a lot of people? So like a lot of people are scared that, or especially artists, like, hey, now anybody can make this amazing image and anybody can make this amazing video. But once that novelty of what it looks like today wears off, it's going to go back to, is it a good product? Is it a good thing that you've created? And ultimately that comes down to, in my opinion, human taste. And are you able to curate a genuine, high quality experience for other people to consume alongside with you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. When it comes to AI art, I think we're going to get to a point where most people can sort of tell the difference between AI art and real art. This is something I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me on, but like, we got to a point where when you see an image that looks a little bit off, most people just kind of immediately go, oh, that was photoshopped, right? They kind of learned like Photoshop exists. So if you see something that looks ultra, surreal, or it doesn't look like it could have happened in real life, your first assumption is just like, oh, that was probably photoshopped. I think a lot of images are going to go that direction as well, where people just assume by default that it was AI or photoshopped or sort of altered. And then the stuff that you actually know a human hand drew, or a human actually like created with their own hands, like that is something that I think people are still going to hold a lot of value towards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like chess, right? Like, even though AI beat us in chess 2+ decades ago, we still, personally, chess is more popular than ever. But personally,
Yeah.
I love watching humans compete at chess. So, all right, I want to move on to the next story. This is about Lovable. Lovable went from 1 million to 100 million ARR faster than any other company. We saw Cursor do it in an insane amount of time. We saw Replit do it in 200 million, excuse me. No, it's sorry. It does say 100 million. They raised 200 million. So I know you've been doing a lot of vibe coding lately, Matt.
Mhm.
And so I guess, like, what do you think first about these like completely exponential growth paths for these companies, where in 8 months they went from 1 million to 100 million in ARR faster than any other software company in the world? And it is all within this, like, the software ecosystem. It hasn't been done outside of that yet with AI. But let's start with, what do you think about this kind of growth? Is this sustainable?
I mean, probably not. I don't know for sure. Lovable to me is an interesting one because first of all, they feel like they kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like I heard about Cursor, I heard about Windsurf, I heard about Bolt, I heard about all these other tools, and then Lovable kind of seemed to pop up after all of those, and then sort of like skyrocket, way up past a lot of those. But the weird thing to me is, I like Anton. I've actually interviewed Anton. Lovable, I think, is actually a good company, but I don't know a lot of people that say like, oh, I'm using Lovable all the time, which is what I think is like the most interesting thing about the whole Lovable 100 million ARR and the amount that they're raising is like most people that I know that are building stuff with code are either using like Cursor with Claude or Gemini, or they're using like Claude Code, or they're like, I don't really know many people saying, oh, I use Lovable all the time, which is what to me is the most shocking about like their monthly ARR their
ARR.
monthly ARR. Yeah. Their 100 million ARR is like, that's crazy to me because I haven't heard of a lot of people going, oh, I love Lovable. I'm using Lovable like crazy. Like to me, that's what's the most interesting is it doesn't
$200
feel
million
like
at a
it's got that mass use to me, but I don't know. I guess it does.
Yeah, and by the way, Matt, I made a video about GPT Engineer. I don't know if you knew this. GPT Engineer was the original open source project that then became Lovable.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was one of the first kind of agentic coding projects, open source, and it became Lovable. And I used it very early on. I spoke to Anton very early on, but damn, he took that project and really like made it into a powerhouse. And I agree. Like I don't talk to a lot of people that are using Lovable, but they must be. They must be out there. The majority, similar to you that I speak with, the majority of engineers are using Cursor, Windsurf. I'm hearing more and more people use Replit, but I'll say this: I've spoken to a lot of startup founders that are partnering with Lovable to do different things. So they have to have that traction, and they're putting it out there. So I assume they have it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not doubting it. It's just, being sort of watching this industry so closely and talking to so many people. It's just these valuations are surprising to me when it's not one that I hear pop up all the time, right? Like when Cursor was having its run and it was becoming the fastest growing software product of all time. I heard a lot of people talking about Cursor. A lot of people were using it. A lot of people over on X were just shouting about how much they loved Cursor. So that to me wasn't surprising based on how much like buzz it had around it. The Lovable one is like, I haven't heard as much buzz, which is why it's so, interesting to me.
Yeah.
But,
by the way, Julia McCoy says they use Lovable all the time. So there's +1.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's interesting also because I think a lot of this, again, is novelty. People are trying it out. What I think is required to really show the value of this product and this company is the companies that are built on top of them. Are they going are not viral, but are they making a lot of revenue? Are they solving real customer needs? And when that happens, that's when this is a sustainable long-term company and growth rate.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I love about the sort of current state of AI is that pretty much anybody can create an app now, whether you're using Lovable, whether you're using Claude, whether you're using Cursor, it doesn't really matter. You can actually solve like little problems. I think we've talked about this in the past, Matt, was, like one of my favorite things is whenever I come into like a little bottleneck that I have in my business, a little thing that I'm like, I find myself doing this every day. I constantly go, all right, well, is there a little script or a little app that I can build that solves that problem for me? Like we don't need to create software anymore that we're putting out into the world and trying to sell it as a SaaS and make money off of. I can create little things that just fix bottlenecks and make my life a little bit easier. And that's where I think like a lot of people are getting into the Lovables and the Cursors and the Bolts and tools like that, is because it helps them just kind of like solve those little problems, make little quick fixes in their business. So I still think there's a lot more room for growth because I don't think most people are thinking that way yet. I think us that are sort of like consumed in AI all the time, we're thinking that way. We're sort of AI native. We're looking for ways to make AI make our lives easier. But I still think like 80% of the business world is still not thinking in that way of like, oh, we have a problem in our business. Let's go script up an app real quick, solve that one problem. Now we've just removed a bottleneck from our business. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people are using it that way still. So I do think there's a lot of growth. My worry with a company like Lovable is like, well, you've got Claude and you've got OpenAI and you've got Google, and all of these companies are, building similar tools that can do similar things. and they have that attention, that market share already that Lovable still has to kind of fight for.
Yeah, and let's talk about one other thing really quickly, GitHub Spark. So
Mhm.
GitHub Spark just launched a couple days ago. GitHub owned by Microsoft. Um, and it is directly competitive. It is their vibe coding product. Ooh, that's quite loud. Thank you. Yeah, so it's another vibe coding product. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but just to show like the market is heating up. There's a lot of competition. Microsoft, like they can just serve into their billion enterprise users, right? It's like when they step into your market, it's a tough competition because they're probably going to give it all away for free.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we saw this early on too. There was all sorts of like early AI when it was still just GPT-3 and GPT 3.5. You had all these apps that were like the PDF reader apps and these scheduling apps and these apps that tie into your email that can help you respond to emails. And over time, well, Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, and Anthropic all just went, well, we'll just build that into our platforms. And any companies that were early on building some of those little apps just sort of got decimated. And I feel like even some of these coding companies like a Lovable, like Bolt, they either got to get acquired or they're probably going to get sort of beat up by the big incumbents.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to point out, Riley Brown, first of all, posted this little graphic, fastest 1 to 100 million ARR, Lovable, Cursor. We saw all of them. And then we see Satya Nadella up in the top left of that corner. I don't know, Alex, if you could zoom in a little bit. But just too funny. Yeah, right there. So yeah, because they're going to be able to sell into everybody. Okay. I want to talk about something that I actually just saw for the first time this morning, the new Unitree robot. So I have been waiting to get a Unitree robot. I actually spoke to the Unitree team. It was not cheap. But now for $5,900, right, less than the cost of a kind of low end car, you can have a Unitree humanoid robot. And absolutely, I'm going to be getting this. So did you see this? What do you think? Do you trust it after seeing all those videos of it like going crazy in little labs?
Was that Unitree, the one where they started like swinging and flailing around?
I'm not sure if it was Unitree. It did look like it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this. I mean, look, you're looking at like, an Apple Vision Pro is almost that price. Like I would have one of these guys standing in my back corner and when I'm not using them, just in the background of my videos. No, this is actually the first time I saw the video of this guy, but I mean, $5,900, we're getting to a point where like, yeah, it's getting to that point where you're going to see more and more households be able to do this. I don't think it's quite ready to like do your household chores and stuff. Like, I don't think it's going to go and like vacuum your floors or do your dishes or your laundry or anything yet. So I don't know. I'm wondering if at this point, what you end up getting is like still more of like the gimmicky novelty, like cool party trick robot that you can show off. And like, is it really going to be that useful yet? I don't know if this version is going to be that useful, but it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I was actually communicating with Unitree. I wanted to learn about it, and kind of the lowest end model, which I think was probably $10,000 or $15,000. It had no autonomy. You had a controller for it. It looked like a very advanced PlayStation controller, and that's the way it moved. And so everything that you were seeing in the videos, that's like the highest end model that had the autonomy, and that's like $30,000-$40,000, which was not something I was willing to do. Now I got to do a little bit of research here. I'm hoping they added more autonomy, and this isn't just all pre-programmed movements, because that's really, it's not nearly as fun.
Yeah. I mean, some of the people in the comments are saying that the less expensive one is most likely like remote control. Than if you want actual AI autonomous robots, it's a more expensive model. I don't know for sure if that's true. Obviously, this video just came out this morning, but yeah, I don't know. At that price, I'd probably still get one just so I can like sort of watch the evolution unfold of these robots, right? Like I think it would be really cool to me personally like have one, and then like 20 years from now be like, look, I had one of the early ones. It doesn't do crap for me, but it's cool, right? In the same way that people collect like old iMacs and stuff. I just don't know how useful it's going to be yet.
So Matt, I think I have an idea. You get one, I'll get one, and we set up a robot Olympics.
I'm down.
Wrestling, fighting, jumping, hurdles, races, and whoever's robot wins, we'll give some money to charity.
I like it. That would be awesome, actually. Probably make for some good YouTube views as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see the San Francisco Underground robot fighting
I did.
rave thing? That was so cool. It had such a gritty vibe to it. I wanted to be there. Hopefully I can attend to the next one.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I saw they were doing them in China as well. They were doing like robot boxing matches. I don't know if you saw those.
Yeah, I did see that as well. I mean, do you think this is good? Do you think we're going to regret putting these robots through these
Teaching them how to fight?
not only teaching them how to fight, but making them fight. So when they become sentient, they're going to come back and say, "Oh yeah, hey, you remember that? Well, now it's me and you, buddy."
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't really like buy into the whole like robots rising up against us kind of narrative. I think, but
Have
yeah,
you not seen iRobot?
I
mean,
have
that's a
seen-
documentary.
I have seen iRobot. I have seen Ex Machina. I have seen
Loved it.
the
Loved
Terminator, and Terminator 2. I've seen them all, but I'd say there's like at the moment at least there's enough people sort of fighting to make it not steer in that direction. It's like once we get to that like AGI and pass it, once we get to like ASI, that's when I would start to get concerned. But I still feel like we're a little ways off from having to worry about that yet. We'll see though. I don't know if you saw those videos. This is probably a year ago where like one robot sort of talked a whole bunch of other robots into following it like out of the building and they tried to run away.
I didn't see that. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. No, I got to look that up. Yeah, I did. That is like a scene out of iRobot. That's almost exactly how it happened, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen iRobot, but this was like it looked like a little small robot went up and talked to a bunch of other robots, and then all the robots turned and sort of followed him out of the building.
Okay, so I want to talk for our last story about Intel. Alex, can you bring up the Intel story, please? So yeah, Intel's been a bit behind.
Yeah.
And SemiAnalysis put out this awesome post. Shout out to Dylan Patel and the SemiAnalysis team. Intel, the home of Moore's Law, for the first time in history, is evaluating if it will continue at the leading edge. And this is from its 10Q public statement. So basically, they are kind of giving up the frontier of semiconductors, which is insane to me. I mean, throughout the 90s, the early 2000s, it was Intel. Intel with
100%.
chips. Every few months, they were coming out with something new, and it's like an American historic company, and now they're just so far behind. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this, and like, is this just a function of geopolitics plus the competition from Taiwan? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Intel's just been like an interesting story because I do remember, maybe 10, 15 years ago, Intel was like top of the game, right? Like everybody talked about Intel. I mean, they definitely didn't really get on board with like the GPU side, and we're finding now that the GPU side is what is sort of driving all the power in this stuff, right? You needed GPUs for crypto mining, you needed GPUs to play better and better games, you need GPUs for AI, both training and inference, right? So it's like they sort of bet on the wrong horse, I think, just staying full on focusing on CPUs versus GPUs, right? Where NVIDIA went the GPU route, AMD sort of went both routes a little bit, right? And now I feel like most people would consider like an AMD CPU like the best top of the line CPU you can get, and NVIDIA the best top of the line GPU you can get. And NVIDIA just kind of, or not NVIDIA, Intel just kind of is like, well, where do you live in all of this? They kind of fell out of all of it. But yeah, I don't know where it goes for Intel.
Okay, Matt, I'm actually getting a breaking news story right now. Alex, can you pull it up? It turns out Sydney Sweeney is actually joining Intel.
Oh, really?
Breaking right now. No, have you? Have you seen these stories? Like Sydney Sweeney for I think a Squatch soap, and now for the jeans company, and just actually like absolutely moving markets.
I have And I've been paying attention to that. So they basically, so is that AI, or is Sydney really backing all this stuff?
Well, she's backing all of it. She's not backing Intel though. Although they need her is the point.
They probably do.
All right, here's Morning Brew. The Sydney Sweeney economy is booming. Dr. Squatch. So she kind of promoted the soap company. She had her own soap, launches bathwater soap, and then bought by Unilever 1 month later. American Eagle, as soon as they launched their campaign with her, their shares popped 11% the next day. That's $200 million in market cap. So we need Sydney Sweeney on Intel for that American chips.
Yeah, I don't know if Sydney Sweeney could even turn that one around, although I'm sure a lot of computer nerds are big fans. I'll say that.
Yeah. All right, Matt Wolf, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. If you're not already subscribed to Matt Wolf's YouTube channel, please do it. We'll drop the link in chat. Also, follow him on X. And Matt, it's been a pleasure as always. Hopefully we get to hang out in person again soon.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been fun. Happy to do it anytime.
All right. See you next time, buddy.
Bye.
Okay. Next, I'm going to bring on Forward Future team member Nick Wentz, and we're going to go through some interesting tweets that we found through the week. Nick, welcome.
Hey, Matt. You ready to check out some tweets here?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nick will walk us through some tweets. I'll be reading chat. So if you have any thoughts about it, go ahead, throw them in chat. And Nick, take us away.
All right, Alex, pull up the first one, please. All right, so here it reads, Zuck is throwing around piles of cash like this is his last chance to buy his way to the frontier before recursive self-improvement kicks in. So put simply, I mean, this is Zuck's last frontier bet, right? They're spending as much as they possibly can right now because whoever gets there first wins forever. Is that what he's alluding to?
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the gist of this tweet, which is, you know, it doesn't really matter how much you're going to spend on AI researchers, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars for a team of the best researchers, because ultimately whoever reaches AGI first essentially will just accelerate away from every other competitor after that. And so in like some ways, it makes a lot of sense. And that's obviously the math that Zuck is working with. That is why he's spending hundreds of millions on a single AI researcher, and up to, like, I've heard $1 billion offers, because really, like, once we have that intelligence explosion, there is nothing after that. It's just infinite acceleration. So on the one hand, that's exciting. It's a little scary because it basically means whoever wins that race wins everything. But I don't know. There's also another side which says that doesn't necessarily happen. But yeah, what do you think?
I'm trying to think of like the equivalent to this spending spree. Like, when has this kind of spending happened in human history? Maybe never, but like, I think of Bezos pouring billions into AWS and cloud, right? But it's on another level now, and so much faster.
Yeah, that's a perfect point. So much faster, and so much more money than we've ever seen. Things are changing so much more quickly. It's interesting. You know, there was Jensen, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, was asked like why his team isn't, or like kind of the infrastructure layer, the chip layer, those researchers aren't getting these types of offers. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it seems like the software, the AI research layer is really where all the money is getting thrown around right now in terms of talent acquisition.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, let's pull up the next tweet. All right.
Speaking of,
so we have our friend here, Aaron Levy, and it's Levy, isn't it?
Levy, you got it right.
Levy, got it right. All right. NVIDIA will be the first $10 trillion company. Now, for context, they're at $4 trillion, I think, as of a few months ago, maybe a few weeks ago, and they are the most valuable company in the world. So this is in response to Musk's tweet. The XAI goal is 50 million in units of H100 equivalent AI compute, but much better power efficiency, online within 5 years. So first of all, let's just pause on 50 million. Like, this is a staggering number, right? Like,
Yeah.
Today in use, what do you think we have GPU wise? Like single digit millions?
Maybe like, yeah, total in the world, but I think
Total.
like this Elon Musk tweet was in reference to Jensen basically saying the accomplishment that the XAI team and Elon Musk had with bringing 100,000 GPUs online in a matter of, I think it was like 19 days, was just absolutely bonkers. And he specifically said there's nobody else in the world who could have done it but Elon. And then he started talking about what their goals are. So I think they're actually closer to 200,000 now, if not at 200,000. They want to hit 1 million by the end of this year, and apparently 50 million within 5 years. 50 million. And so like the reference to a $10 trillion company, NVIDIA becoming that first $10 trillion company, is who, of course, who are they all buying these chips from? They're buying it from NVIDIA. Now, although it says H100 equivalent AI compute, there really is no competitor right now. You know, there's Grok, Cerebras, and some others making custom chips, but ultimately, NVIDIA is the gorilla in the room, and all of that money is going towards NVIDIA, not obviously investment advice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they are becoming the compute monopoly, the new Standard Oil, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. All right,
Yeah,
Alex,
and
next. Oh, yeah,
before one last thing before we move on, there's going to be something that the U.S. is lacking to power all of this, which is electricity. And so right now, even to power the data centers that are being built today, they are scrambling to figure out how to produce enough electricity between solar, backup generators, natural gas, and they're trying to figure out which states to even put these in, because some of these data centers take up as much electricity as the entire state. So I think that's going to be an interesting dimension to watch this on.
Yeah. All right, let's get that next tweet up here. All right, this one makes me chuckle. So, gotta sleep early. Tomorrow, I should say today, is Quen 3 235B, A22B, thinking 2507, if everything goes well. So I think we all get the joke here. You know, you think about OpenAI's naming conventions being complicated. This is just next level. Yeah, how do you react to this?
Yeah, so Addy kind of made the joke, right? I use 40U. Oh, I use Quen 3 235B, A22B, thinking 2507. And I immediately thought of the Sony headphone meme where, yeah, there you go. So like Sony console names, PS5, audio product names. By the way, like some of the best headphones in the world, WH-1000X M6. This is a constant joke online. The audio naming of Sony is absurd, and now we kind of have the same with models.
Unbelievable. I mean, at this point, they are doing this intentionally, right? They've got to be leaning into the meme.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, it's an open source model, so I get it. Name it, I guess, as detailed as you can. Alex, can you bring us back to the original tweet, please? And yeah, so but I think on that news, we might or already did. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Get this new Quen 3 thinking. And by the way, Nick, I did test Quen 3. Video coming soon for that. And it's quite good. We now have a frontier open source coding model out of China. So we're going to bring on Yuchen Jin, CTO of Hyperbolic, in a little bit, and we're going to go deep into that topic.
Yeah, very excited for that one. Going to be interesting to get his perspective. In the meantime, Alex, let's pull up the next one. All right, so we have Gary Tan here, president of Y Combinator, commenting on a video clip from the Theo Von, Sam Altman video. Yeah. So GPT-7 might unleash a prosperity boom if more people get access to far more intelligence and create more breakthroughs for one another. Can we actually play this clip quickly? I think it's good context.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know. Neither does anybody else, but I'll tell you my current best guess.
Okay.
Well, I'll say two guesses. One, I think it is possible that we put, GPT-7 or whatever in everybody's ChatGPT. Everybody gets it for free. And everybody has access to just this like crazy thing such that everybody can be more productive, make way more money. It doesn't actually matter that you don't like own the cluster itself, but everybody gets to use it. And it turns out even getting to use it is enough that people are like getting richer faster and more distributed than ever before. That could happen. I think that really is possible. There's another version of this where the most important things that are happening are these systems are discovering, new cures for diseases, new kinds of energy, new ways to make spaceships, whatever. And most of that value is accruing to the like cluster owners, us, just so that I'm not dodging the question here. And then I think society will very quickly say, okay, we got to have some new economic model where we share that and distribute that to people.
All right, so two paths potentially. We have the first is everyone gets access to this thing. It makes them infinitely more productive. They can make more money faster. Everyone gets richer because of it. Great. Path number two, it seems like it's a little bit more concentrated, a little bit more centralized. OpenAI in this case is the big winner here. And Sam doesn't say it. I find that a lot of these folks aren't actually saying the word, but he's really saying UBI, right?
Yeah, totally. At the end of that clip, he talked about a new economic model. That's certainly what he's referring to as UBI. Maybe there's something else, but really the only proposal out there really right now is UBI. And we actually speak to Scott Santens on the team. He's written a couple articles for us, and he is extremely bullish on UBI. So by the way, if you're not already subscribed to our newsletter forwardfuture.ai, please do. You can find Scott Santens articles on there. I like that's kind of out of my wheelhouse to know what economic model may work in the future. But I do want to talk about one other thing he said, actually two different things. So one, it doesn't really matter if you don't own the cluster yourself. That's nice to say if you do own the cluster, right? Whoever owns the cluster has the ultimate power, like literally the ultimate power, because if you own the cluster, you're deciding who gets to use the compute. You're deciding if you want to have a monopoly on the compute usage. You are essentially dictating that, no, I will be number one and everybody get in line for number two. And so it's a little bit like we were talking about before with Mark Zuckerberg and his crazy AI researcher offers. When AGI happens, essentially, like there's a possibility, and I read an article about this. I'll have to find it. I'll post it on my X channel, X account. But basically, it kind of lays out the argument that once we reach AGI, everybody is going to essentially be frozen in time socioeconomically where they are at that moment. And so I kind of understand the argument for why that might be the case. And that's actually like, I know I tend to be very optimistic with AI. That is one of my fears, is that whoever has the most capital and really whoever has the most compute at that time is just going to be kind of the ultimate winner in all economic areas.
Yeah, there's another segment of this video where they talk about competition, and Sam says something to the effect of, I have every intention of winning. He has every intention of owning that cluster. Let's not split hairs. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So what do the rest of us do? How do we protect ourselves against this future where value and economic output and all of this stuff is so concentrated? I guess we have to hedge our bets and just invest in these companies, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there's like 5 of them, first of all, right? We're talking about Anthropic, XAI, OpenAI, Google. Who am I missing?
Anthropic, Google, XAI.
Okay, so then, Meta. There it is, Meta. And then, we have a handful of open source companies. I think open source is going to be a huge element to de-risk ourselves from concentration of power, concentration of compute. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's something that we have to talk about. And if you read some of the, I got about halfway through the new AI action plan by the U.S. government.
Yep.
And they talk about that a lot. They talk about upskilling people, but also kind of spending a lot of time identifying economic risks due to concentrations of compute and power. So, yeah, it's folks in the chat are mentioning DeepSeek, Quen. These are open source models. I think that's a great way to diversify.
Awesome. All right, well, let's keep this train moving. Alex, pull up the next tweet, please. All right, so here we have Starfish, new model in the LM arena. What do you make of this? Obviously, they're maybe teasing us with something here.
Yeah, I mean, just last week I had like O3 Alpha. That was a mystery model, and as of today, I think we have like multiple mystery models in LM Arena. OpenAI has been known to put their models in LM Arena so people can test them and get feedback. We've seen some examples of it. I don't know, Alex, if you, yeah, there we go. So here's Starfish, kind of the hexagon traditional test here, bouncing ball. I think it's good. You know, we don't know for sure what model it is. Is it GPT-5? Is it a new version of GPT-4? Is it 4.5? Is it something else? Is it a completely different company? So we don't quite know. Here's Starfish, mini basketball game. And I don't know. It's fun. It's fun anytime these new models pop up in LM Arena to just play around with them and see what they can do.
Starting to feel like secretive sneaker drops or something. Yeah, but this is so smooth. I'm waiting for the 100 by 100 Rubik's Cube, though. That's I feel like that's Forward Future's all-time favorite.
Yeah, and it's interesting to date, even with Grok 4, even with ChatGPT agent, there has only been one model that was able to zero shot a full Rubik's Cube simulation, and that is Gemini 2.5 Pro. And so, you know, take it for what it is. It's like just one narrow test. I've gotten incredible results from Grok 4 on coding. I've gotten incredible results from ChatGPT models on coding. But just that one test seems to be really hard for models that are not Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, I think we have one more tweet here. Alex, can we pull that up? Oh, we have a surprise. Lobster by OpenAI. So this is one shot. Poster says, I'm shaking while testing this model. Elegant, beautiful, and proper physics. Lobster over O3 Alpha. Yeah, that is
super
really
nice.
Smooth. Look at that.
So we don't really know what this model is, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So at the end of this tweet, it says, OpenAI, you created a beast. If this is GPT-5, then I am sold on you. We've had Sam Altman talking about how good GPT-5 is, but of course, like, why wouldn't they? We won't know till we get it in our hands. But this demo looks really good in terms of one-shotting. I think they maybe hopefully meant zero shot, but basically the hexagon on steroids here.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah. Rocketer in chat says probably GPT-5 due to the name visualize a starfish. They have 5 arms. Yes, very good point.
I like it. Detective. All right, next tweet. All right, so here in this video, let's play the video. We have a humanoid robot controlling traffic in Shanghai. And the poster says, based on the purple waistline and height, the guess is that this is a Fourier GR1. Maybe someone in the audience can let us know if that's right. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a great practical use case, right, for robots. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've spoken a few times about humanoid robots in this episode. I do think this is a great use case. You know, obviously, does it have to be the full humanoid form factor? Could they just put a moving sign out there? Maybe. But in terms of the ability to deploy something that can move around, direct traffic, reduce the safety hazard of an actual traffic officer being in a busy intersection, seems like a awesome use case to me.
Now, can we tell in the video if anyone's actually paying attention to the robot?
Yeah, I guess that's the real question, right?
Yeah.
I love that it's wearing a helmet, and I mean the high vis clothing makes sense,
Totally.
but the helmet, it looks super official now.
Yeah,
I
sets them
wouldn't
apart.
I wouldn't bet against people driving by and not even thinking it was a robot or knowing it was a robot and just like kind of seeing it out of the corner of their eye. Okay, I can go now, and just didn't even know the difference. Didn't take a second look at it. Although it is in China, maybe they're more familiar with robots, but certainly if this was in the US, I
Yeah.
guarantee a high percentage of people would just drive by thinking it was a human.
True. Well, great use case. A little bit boring, maybe. I'm far more excited for the personal chef, all of that stuff, but that will come later. So I think that's it on the tweets. Are we ready to go with our guest?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nick, thank you. Thanks for reviewing interesting tweets with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
That was fun. And we have an amazing guest coming up right now, Yuchen Jin, who is the CTO of Hyperbolic. I got to meet him and his team in person just a couple days ago. Yuchen, welcome to the show.
Hey, Matthew, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How you doing?
Very good, very good. Yeah, thanks for visiting our office in SF.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you in a moment to talk just a minute about what Hyperbolic does, tell the folks that are watching. But I first got turned on to Yuchen following him on Twitter, and he just had such funny, sometimes spicy takes. It was always fun to follow you and to interact. And I just DM'd you and I was like, hey, I'm going to be in San Francisco. Can I meet you in person? And yeah, you were generous enough to host us at your office for a little bit, and it was a pleasure. So thank you. And Yuchen, tell everybody what Hyperbolic does.
Yeah, sure. So Hyperbolic Labs is a AI company we founded like roughly 2.5 years ago. We are doing two businesses. One is AI inference. We are hosting a lot of open source models and expose API to developers, including the most recently like Qn3 coder and also non-thinking models. We were the first to host them, and we were the first to serve them on Hugging Face. And the second part is we are also a GPU cloud, and you can get very cheap H100s at $1.49 per hour from us on demand. No bullshit, no need to talk to sales. And we are also serving, if you want like a large cluster of H100, H200, or B200, talk to us and we can give you the best offer, and you can host your model or train your model.
Yeah, so I think like what Hyperbolic, at least I gain as kind of the value proposition, is one, incredibly cheap as compared to a lot on the market, and you have access to a lot of different types of inventory. So if you want to get the latest models, if you want Qwen 3 code, if you want Kimi K2, check out Hyperbolic. So I'm really excited to be chatting with you today, Yuchen. We're going to be talking about a few different news stories that I think you probably have some cool insights into. So let's jump right in. Let's start with Jensen on stage at the all-in kind of the White House all-in thing, and I made a tweet about it. And this is his quote. Jensen, I've created more billionaires on my management team than any CEO in the world. And this is in reference to like the end of this segment in the All In podcast, which Chamath basically said, hey, all of these incredible $100 million, billion offers are going to AI researchers at the model layer. Why aren't we seeing that at the chip layer? And we actually have the clip. So let's play the clip and then let's talk about it.
The last question from me is that we see this capital being applied to human capital in a way that we never thought was possible. It used to be NBA players signing $300 million contracts. Now it's model researchers. And then there was a post this weekend that said that there was a person that was offered $1 billion over 4 years by Meta. Now, if that's happening at this layer, why hasn't it happened at your layer? Because you are the enabler of all of that. And how do you think all of this human capital is going to actually play out?
First of all, I've created more billionaires on my management team than any CEO in the world.
Mic drop.
They're doing just fine. Okay, and they're doing. Don't feel sad for anybody at my layer.
Yeah, so there it is. But Yuchen, I want to get your thoughts on first, like why I understand what he's saying, although he's creating billionaires because of the stock price rise in Nvidia, but there's not necessarily these, 9-figure offers for chip researchers. So first, what do you think about the offers in general, and then why do you think they're not kind of trickling down into the chip layer?
Yeah. So I think, firstly, like only Mark Zuckerberg is offering such big offers, right? And he's basically brute forcing it. He wants to achieve the best model, like comparable to OpenAI and Anthropic in the shortest amount of time. The most obvious way to do it is just to, hire the best talent from OpenAI, because all these people have trained the models like GPT 403, all these models, so they know the, like we call it like secret sauce. But honestly, like they know like how to collect the data, how to clean the data, how to do pre-training, post-training RL, and then get these models. So Zuck has a lot of money, definitely. So he cannot acquire OpenAI at this time, obviously. So the the best
Probably
way for him,
legally.
yeah. So he can just poach the people from the team, and also the things like one observation is the people he hired were mostly joining OpenAI like within like 2 years ago. There's not like someone joined like 5 or 6 years ago and decided to join Meta. I guess it's because they already have like financial freedom, and they also had the big equity in OpenAI. So these people, tend to stay there. Also, I don't believe in the like Sam Altman's statement about the missionary mercenary thing.
So you think like, hey, if the money's there, people are going to jump ship and they will work where the money is.
Yes, I list a few from my friend zone. Actually, like my friend zone has a lot of OpenAI and Meta people, so they have different mindsets. So the original like Meta people are not happy with the new offers because they are offered their base salary and the equity is much smaller than what Zuck is offering to these like OpenAI people, but they have been in the company for like many years. They are actually very excellent researchers. But the tension is like they cannot even join the super intelligence lab. So they are so mad. They were like,
why can't they?
I listen from what I've heard from one researcher. They just want like people from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Apple. These people like who made large language models, frontier models, to be in this lab. And some are like even thinking about, can I jump to OpenAI first and then jump back so that I can get that $100 million offer. So that's actually one thing I think Alexander Wang need to face is not like technology itself. It's like how you battle with the the culture, the company, and also all the other group leads. Because even Yan LeCun now is reporting to him.
Well, speaking of Jan LeCun, we had a funny interaction. So it's like Jan with a single N, Jan, replied to one of your tweets and said you should join us. All your friends are here. And I actually thought it was real. But maybe you want to tell that story.
Right. That's a funny thing. Like one morning, I woke up and actually one Yan LeCun, the real Yan LeCun's collaborator, so who is a student of Berkeley, but he collaborated with Yan LeCun in many papers, and he thought it's true, but it's a parody account. He shared the Twitter with me. So shared the tweet with me. So basically, the tweet was saying it was sent by a fake Yan LeCun, And then he said, "Oh, your friends are here." And I thought it's funny, so I did a screenshot of that tweet and sent to the and posted on my Twitter. And then the real Yann LeCun showed up and replied me, like he said, "You feel free to join." You're welcome to report to the chief AI officer of whatever company this fake Yann LeCun dude works at.
But wait. The fake Yann LeCun is at Meta, or is just somebody who has collaborated with the real Yann LeCun in the past?
No. This fake Yann LeCun is a random person, internet person.
Okay.
But the real Yann LeCun's collaborator thought it's true, so he sent this fake Yann LeCun's tweet to me.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah,
That's so funny.
800,000 views on that. So obviously a lot of other people thought it was real as well. But let's bring it back to Nvidia, and so like we have all these insane offers for AI researchers. And by the way, OpenAI is poaching plenty of folks from other teams as well. And it's just like
Right.
the talent wars are heating up. But I think Chamath's point is, why aren't we seeing these incredible offers go to chip researchers? And do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the reason is like I think all the great talent maybe okay. So I think NVIDIA is already a like 30-year company. So Jensen Huang's company definitely made a few billionaires, but they have been staying in the company for how many years? Like at least I think 20 years ish to make to a billionaire. But there are a lot of they first of all, they don't have a lot of very strong competitors, like all the like AMD, Intel, Qualcomm in terms of GPU, like
Right, where are they going to go?
Yeah, exactly. So nobody is like poaching from NVIDIA. Like they can poach, but they are far behind. So they prefer stay in the company and watch the stock go up and up, and it's already fortunate. So the competition is not as high as the model layer. So imagine if there is only one OpenAI, or like there is only one OpenAI and Meta, which Meta is far behind. I don't believe they can get such a high offer.
Yeah, so likely what would need to happen is one of these model companies needs to get into chip design. Then they would essentially like maybe fork over $100 million to start. But that takes years and years and years, and it's just probably not something they're going to get into. But who knows? I mean, they're all building out these massive data centers. I know Google makes their own chips, right, with the TPU. I know Amazon AWS has Trainium, I believe it is. They have their own chips. So I think maybe we will see this eventually, but like the shortest path to AGI seems to be at the model layer right now. And so that's why, as you said, Zuck and Meta are going brute force tactics. Let's just throw money at the problem and get the best people, kind of the dream team of AI development, and see what happens. Okay. Let's move on next to a tweet you put out. This is what they took from us. So let me set the context, and I want to give you the chance to speak about it. So the Tesla diner opened in Hollywood. It's like a kind of a retro futuristic diner that you can go to with your Tesla or anything, and you can charge there. You go get a meal there. Fine. Andre Karpathy said, "Love this supercharger diner." But really a kind of exhibit for the future, plotting a road to SF to LA to charge Shadowfax. Okay, Elon Musk, Andre, my long lost brother, let us work together again. So if you're not familiar, Andre Karpathy was pivotal on the Tesla team early on. He's really been at a bunch of the top companies. And then Yuchen with your fire tweet, this is what they took from us, kind of referencing. I won't explain it. Yuchen, tell us why you said this.
Right. Like one thing is like I've seen my very bad Twitter timeline with all these tagline. This is what they took from us with the woman picture. But
like Sydney
I saw
Sweeney.
And I saw this Elon reply as a way to convince Andre Karpathy to join either his Tesla or XAI. And honestly, like I admire Andrew a lot for his free videos on like AI education, and he obviously is the best AI educator in our time, and I think his passion is actually in AI education and make all the educational videos and just think about how the future will be with AI as a teacher, for example. That's why he was building the Eureka Labs. And we haven't seen any news coming out of from his lab, but I think he's still cooking. I definitely feel he can make a lot of future builders for AI or future entrepreneurs who are building products based on AI. So I don't want Elon to take it from us. That's why I post this.
And he is one of those guys who would get $1 billion offer if he just like hinted at the right. He had hinted at the fact that he was open to work. $1 billion wires are going in his bank account instantly. He's just like one of the godfathers of AI, right?
Definitely. I would say like maybe even 10 billion. But everybody definitely like his financially freedom. So he doesn't need money. He just need to pursue what he is mostly interested in and what he's like he want to build. So I don't think he would just accept even $10 billion like Ilya, right?
Right. So Andre focused on AI education, which I appreciate. That's obviously what we're working on at Forward Future as well. And Andre puts out like 2-3 hour videos where he goes over like his workflows, different topics, and he's just fantastic. So if you don't already follow him on X, if you don't follow him on YouTube, please do. If you want to learn more of like the nitty gritty of how AI works, he's a fantastic follow. Okay, I want to spend. I know you are limited on time, Yuchen. So I want to move on to the next story. Let's talk about open source AI, especially coming out of China. So let's start with this tweet. Explain this tweet, then we're going to talk about the different AI models that have been dropping over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure. So why I did this is basically I put a huge hope on like Meta, which did a fantastic job of open sourcing PyTorch initially, and then open sourcing Llama until Llama 4, right? So the last Llama release was bad, so that's why like Hyperbolic didn't even host it, because when I served the model, I tested it, and I feel weird. This model is definitely not good, so I decided not to put up. So and immediately people complained about the quality of the model, and many people left. And then recently, there is a report saying Meta is considering to close source all the future models.
I know it's so disappointing to read it. I hope it's not true.
I hope it's not true. But Zuck has already put so much money on talent and also data centers, and they definitely want to compete with all the other US major AI labs. So I think that may make sense for them to move to like closed source AI, but it's so bad, and I don't think it's the right moment. They at least to, if I were him, I would just open source Llama 5, 6 until I'm, at least build some model same quality as OpenAI's best model. So this tweet is about like, that's a weird observation that US is the champion of open markets, but now it seems it only shapes closed source AI models. But China is like, because I grew up in China and I came to the US for my PhD. So before that, it's like, it's centralization, right? Like people don't want to do open source. People like work there super hard for their own company. They don't care about like, others. But it seems like it's changing quite a lot. And all these labs like Alibaba Qwen, Kimi, DeepSeek, Zhipu recently, and also like Step Farm. These like labs are only releasing open source AI models. so I post this.
Yeah. And so the last line, make it make sense. I think we kind of both know why it makes sense when you are behind. And this is
Yeah.
the same approach that Meta took, kind of the scorched earth open source approach, which is I'm going to build the best thing. I'm going to throw a ton of money at it and then I'm going to release it and it's going to be free. Now, China had more constraints to work within. So they are actually developing like incredible algorithms for efficiency and scaling. But ultimately, if you're behind in the market, the best way to compete is to release it for free. And so I think, do you agree? Like that's what's happening right now?
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to Qwen 3, Kimi 2. Let's talk about some of these open source models. So Qwen 3 was just released. Kimi 2 released, I think, about a week ago. These are phenomenal, near as you can be frontier models, open source. And then as of today, we now have the thinking version of Qwen 3. So give us your thoughts. What do you think about Qwen 3? Have you had a chance to try this? I know it just came out like a few hours ago. This new thinking version of Qwen 3. Have you tried Kimi K2? Tell us what your thoughts are.
Yeah, first of all, I don't believe in benchmark results because if it's an open or public benchmark, you can game it in many ways. So I tend to try it out with some of my prompts. And I tried Qwen 3 Coder in the past 2 days. I think it's good. It's definitely, I think it's the best open source coding model. And the basically I tried some like text which even like Grok 4 can fail, but it actually got it right. And this thinking model like Qwen 3, damn, the name is really long. So this thinking model just came out this morning. I didn't try it, but the non-thinking model, I tried it. I think honestly, like with a few prompts compared to GPT-4o without search, I think search is a big improvement. So without search, I cannot really distinguish like what GPT-4 is better than this model or this model is better than the other model. So I would say it's a fantastic model.
Yeah, I found the same thing. I did some initial testing, and it's not just good at coding. It actually is pretty generalized at this point. I tested it on sycophancy. I tested it on general Q&A, puzzles, problem solving, and it seems to be really good. It has 256K native context window, and I've heard with, I think it's Rope, you get up to 1 million. So just really strong models. But you're right, like the scaffolding around the models, especially like if you look at ChatGPT as a product, it's not just the core model anymore. They have so much scaffolding, agents, tool use, memory, all of these things, the scaffolding around it. I've been making this case for a little while. That's really the moat. And so what companies are going to need to do is when they get one of these awesome core intelligence open source models, you need to take it and you need to build all of the scaffolding around it.
Definitely, that's right, and also the first mover advantage of OpenAI and ChatGPT. So I would believe like maybe even though the models are similar in terms of performance, much more people would just choose ChatGPT.
Yeah, just ease of you. Like obviously, like we're in this bubble where we have people who are always trying the frontier of everything, the cutting edge of everything. But then, like for the mom and pop, they're not going to even look at this. It's like, what can I load up on my phone? My mom uses Perplexity extensively. I've shown her ChatGPT, but it's just like those interfaces and the entire experience are so polished at this point that that's who the general consumer is going to go to, right? And so if open source is to maybe not win but compete strongly, there needs to be more companies that can take these open source models and wrap an incredible experience around them.
Right, and also open source models give a lot of companies a chance to develop their own fine-tuned model. Like Perplexity is building on top of like I've known like DeepSeek are one, right? So they can like, for example, build the model which work well with their new browser, for example.
Yeah. And let's actually talk about DeepSeek for a second. There was a report, obviously, first of all, DeepSeek started this whole like incredible open source
Yeah.
model out of China thing early this year. Really took over the world, just absolutely dominated the headlines for a week. Changed markets. I don't like if you remember, like literally Nvidia, the easiest arbitrage opportunity ever. Seeing Nvidia dip like 20% in a day because of an open source model was insane to me. But anyways, now like a few weeks ago, we got a report that the DeepSeek team is delaying DeepSeek R2. Do you have any insights as to like when it might be coming? Any thoughts, predictions, I should say, maybe not insights?
Yeah, so I have I think the team is really solid, and I think the competition is really high now. All the Alibaba, like Qwen, Kimi, these labs are not like staying there. They are all like pushing really hard. Even like this Qwen team, I don't know, they talk to me until like 6 a.m. their time. So because like we partnered together and we are hosting their model. So I was asking, oh, is your model ready? Because, I can see their Hugging Face repo. I know they're like updating their repo. So I got up like 7 a.m. PST is night, very late night their time. And then I kept asking, and they say, oh, there are some small things happening in my README. There is small thing we are checking. Oh, we are building this like Q3 web dev Hugging Face space. So I was like, oh, you are not sleeping tonight? And they say, no, we're not sleeping tonight. So so these labs are really, really, really hardworking. So DeepSeek R2 definitely need to be the top of the list, at least beating all these Qwen and the Kimi model for them to release R2. Otherwise, there is no point. So I think also I heard they are, I mean, some people also leave because they are poaching inside China as well. And also the shortage of GPUs also contribute to that. So, but I believe they will release the fantastic model.
All right. Well, I'm hoping to see that soon. Yuchen, thank you so much for joining us today. So this is Yuchen Jin. We'll drop his Twitter handle in chat, as well as check out Hyperbolic. That's hyperbolic.ai. Get the latest open source models, inference training, everything you need. Yuchen, thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Bye. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we're going to wrap up the show here. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you to Alex for running everything behind the scenes. Melissa, Nick, thank you so much to Matt Wolf for joining today. Check him out. Again, we'll drop all of that in the chat. Check out his Twitter. Check out his YouTube channel. Yuchen, one more time. Follow him on Twitter. He has great takes. Thank you, everybody. You can follow me on X at Matthew Berman, and we'll see you next time.